trucks are different. Tacoma is built for your life's adventures. Dependable day in and day out for weekend warriors and as a die-hard work truck. Tacomas also do better when it comes to fuel costs. Now's the time to buy right. Toyota trucks are different.
Inside PressBox is presented by Freedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Freedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs.
And welcome back to Inside PressBox. You know, it's often said that the road to a championship starts in the offseason with preparation. Well, if that old adage is true for the fantasy football owner, there's no better time than now to start building your league's champion. Joining me now is Baltimore's fantasy football expert, Ken Zalis. Ken, welcome to the show. How are you?
Very much good.
Baltimore's fantasy football expert. Look at you.
Look at me.
Since when?
I don't know. You know, they can call me anything they want. Why not call me an expert?
Well, I've played with you in the media league now for 2 years. I think you won it the first year.
I did.
Right. You beat me in the championship.
I did. Your first year playing.
That's right. And then last year I don't remember who I played in the championship, and I lost there. So I'm not an expert, I can tell you that much. But as far as fantasy football is concerned, which I really enjoy, and these 2 years that I played are the first 2 years that I've ever played, what should a fantasy football player be thinking about right now in the first week of July?
Well, you're starting to think about, you know, what movement was made, what veterans got cut. For example, you want to pay attention that the Denver Broncos cut Willis McGahee. And that means that going back to the draft, they took Monte Ball from Wisconsin. You got to think that he is going to be given every opportunity to win the starting running back job there. You also got to think that Noshawn Marino is still there, and he did well last year when all their other running backs got hurt. So those are the things you tend to take a look at. You know, you part the draft with free agency, and you kind of see how the teams are being built. Are they going to be more from a passing standpoint? You look at the Ravens, they let go of Leach. Does that mean they're going to be throwing the ball a little bit more? And you start building your philosophies on teams that way.
Do you also try to remember, if that's a word, kind of who was strong at the end of last year, like maybe a player who was a surprise at the end of last year that came through big, and now all of a sudden their team is probably thinking, oh, we got something here. Let's try to figure out a way to get him some more playing time.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you look at a guy like T.Y. Hilton from Indianapolis, came on, you know, he was a mid-round pick, but came on his rookie year and really did some nice things. You got to think that he's going to take a step forward along with Andrew Luck in his progression. You then look at a team like the Ravens. They got rid of Anquan Boldin. So who's going to step in and be that number 2 wide receiver? Is it going to be Jones? Is he not going to run back kicks as much? Or a guy like Dante Thompson? Is he going to be given an opportunity? So you look at things like that, movement in the free agency, movement in the draft, and kind of the philosophies.
So training camp opens up in about 3 weeks, and then after that, the preseason games, obviously, in the first week of August. You know, you're going to see, as football fans always do in the preseason, big games from players that never play in the NFL again. So what's the right way for a fantasy football player to assess what's going on with some quote-unquote no-names during the preseason?
Well, you look at, first of all, you look at preseason game number 1, and you look at who is starting. That gives you, there's the depth chart of every NFL team. No matter what they have on paper right now, the depth chart is who is starting in game 1, snap 1. They're only going to play a couple of series, but at least you have your blueprint. Game 2, I ignore. And then we have what we call our dress rehearsal, which is the third preseason game. You really get an idea of what they're doing there. Game 4 of the preseason, you really ignore once again because nobody really plays. So you where we started with the first preseason game, game 3 of the preseason really shows you it's a live dress rehearsal, and then you go from there and start building that. But you got to look at the battles in camps. You also kind of remember the guys that were hurt last year. A guy like Fred Jackson in Buffalo, he got hurt. Also, all of a sudden, C.J. Spiller is a top 5 running back on everybody's board. But they're saying that, and they're not going to remember Fred Jackson's going to be back. He's not going to get C.J. Spiller 25 carries a game. He may only get 15 to 20. So how does that affect his value?
So let's talk about the play. As far as the NFL is concerned, who do you think? If I had to ask you for a couple of breakout players this year, who would you kind of start to watch a little bit as a good value?
I think a couple of guys, rookies to start with, that you got to keep on your radar. Dobson for New England, Aaron Dobson. You know, you look at New England right now. We've all talked about it ad nauseum, but they're in disarray. They may not have either tight end back. Wes Welker is no longer there. Right now, Brandon Lloyd isn't there. They're going to have to get wide receivers to play. Staying in New England, you have a guy like Donald Jones, who had some moments at Buffalo. He's now on that roster. That's an interesting thing to look at. You then go to San Francisco, Quinton Patton, a guy that was taken in the 4th round, I think right before the Ravens were about to take him. San Francisco took him. You look at that situation, Crabtree went down with an Achilles. We don't know how soon he's going to be back and he's going to be healed, so they're going to need a number 2 wide receiver opposite of Bolden there. You know, that's a situation to look at.
Quick question, 30 seconds to go. Does the disarray in New England affect Tom Brady's draft position? And does Wes Welker going to Denver help Peyton Manning's draft position?
The latter first. It doesn't help or hurt Peyton Manning. It's just another weapon. He already had 2 of the top 15 wide receivers in the NFL.
And they're going to throw the ball.
Yeah, they're going to throw the ball. I think it hurts Welker's overall production going there because you have too many mouths to feed. Brady, you know, it's tough to get him out of the top 6 in quarterbacks. He's done it with no names before, so I think that's a system type of thing. They'll find pieces. They'll change their offense away from the 2 tight end set to more wide receivers. A guy to look really there is Ridgely from out of the running back.
Quick answer, how high has Joe Flacco risen or not at all this year?
QB2, 15th in the league, fantasy-wise. Top 10 in the NFL for real football. But fantasy-wise, they just don't throw the ball enough yet.
I got a feeling, and I don't know as much as you, I think Flacco's going to be better than you think he is as far as numbers are concerned.
Well, I hope you're right, because that'll be good for the real football.
Gotcha. Kenny, thank you so much. All right, when we come back, we'll wrap things up for another edition of Inside Press Box. Don't go away.
Play 5-card cash from the Maryland Lottery and you could really hit it big. Become the contestant of the game or win other great Orioles prizes. Just go to mdlottery.com/Orioles for details.